Okay, I see we have some people in here, so I am going to get started. Also because I like to hear myself talk. Welcome everyone from UKG UTA to WFM, your Mosaic webinar about what's going on with UTA going bye-bye. It'll be fun. I know you're going to ask, so you will have access to the recording and the slides. They will be posted after the webinar is done. So let's start. My name is M.A. Morgan. I am a Senior Premier Services Consultant here at Mosaic. I've been with Mosaic for 10 years. I actually went live with UltiPro back in 2007, and we went live with UltiPro Time and Attendance, UTA, in 2009. So I have been working with this program for a very long time. I kind of wish they had held off on the sunset date for another year so I could have made an even 20 years, but I guess I'll settle for 19. And then let me introduce Karen.
Hi, my name is Karen Cullen. I am a WFM consultant with Mosaic. I've been on the platform in many different iterations along the years, and I have worked with a number of clients in the transition from UTA over to WFM. UTA is definitely a beloved product, but we are here to help you get into that next really premier project and product and really love the expansion that WFM can help you get.
Okay, thank you. So let us move on. So our agenda today, we will talk about the actual sunsetting of UTA. We will talk about what can you do now. Then, because I needed another slide, we're going to talk about what else you can do now. And then I am going to turn it over to Karen. She's going to talk about starting the process of transitioning to WFM. She's going to talk about the scheduling, the reporting, a few miscellaneous things about WFM. We're going to talk about what Mosaic can do to help you with your transition to WFM. We're going to have the floor open for questions. And then because this is an M.A. Morgan webinar, we're going to have a cocktail at the end. The recipe, not the actual cocktail, because apparently drinking before dinner is frowned upon. So let us get started with sunsetting of UltiPro Time and Attendance. So key dates, what do we need to know? UTA will sunset on 10/27/28. It will no longer be supported by UKG after that date. Now, I know some of us are thinking, well, not supported, but we can still use it, right? I mean, I have a laptop that's still running Windows XP, but no. On October 28th, 2028, you will not be able to log into your UTA environment anymore. It will be dead to you. So definitely you need to have something in place probably before the 27th of October, 2028. That is a Saturday, by the way. If you intend to wait that long, keep in mind that is a Saturday. What else is happening? There are updates coming to the current UTA environment. They are going to start rolling them out in the test environment on today. And then they start rolling them out into production in November 10th. You will be notified when they are ready to roll this out into your test environment. You're not going to wake up one morning and suddenly have an entirely new UTA. You will know when it's coming. If you will be moved on to WFM by December 31st of 2026, reach out and let UKG know. They should know anyway, but then you will be not updated. If something happens and you're not going to be live by 12/31/2026, you will be updated. They have no options. It has to be updated. What do we need to know about the updates? Well, you can actually find them in the September 2025 release notes. But some highlights. They fixed some bugs. I'm just going to call them bugs. Some issues with the reporting. There are some new rules and conditions that can be applied to your calc rules. And there are some changes to multi-view scheduler if that is something you are using. There are other small changes, but like I said, check the release notes. It's all in there. What does this mean? Well, obviously, if you use multi-view scheduler, please pay attention to those changes and please test this in your test environment. Reporting should not cause issues, but in your test environment, once the upgrade has been pushed in, please go out and run any of your custom reports. Custom report being any report that you have built, Mosaic has built for you, UKG has built for you. And with the new rules and conditions, again, you need to test any rule, any custom rule, and you will know it is a custom rule because it has your company three-letter code in front of it. So if your company is Bob's Burgers, it might be Bob UTA color purple, whatever that rule is. So you'll know that's a custom rule, but then you also want to test all of your rules and make sure they're still working after the upgrade. Sometimes little changes to rules or conditions, 90% of the people using them aren't going to see an issue. You might be the 10% that see something weird happening and it needs to be fixed. So you get about a month or so to test that in your test environment before it gets rolled out into the production environment. I'm pretty sure they can hold that off if you have a big issue, if you have a custom rule that needs to be adjusted. I do recommend that if you have not updated your test environment, make sure that gets done before the upgrade is pushed there so you have the most current data and you can see what's happening. Mosaic will continue to stay on top of what changes are coming. I've already checked October release. There's nothing there. I check the releases every month. If there's anything more, I will know. I tend to share that information internally with anybody I know has a UTA client. If you are working with Mosaic, even if it's not on UTA, you can ask your consultant to reach out and find out what those updates are. Very much something that we are happy to share. What is next? What can you do now? Okay, you know you're leaving UTA. You have no choice in the matter. So what can you do? You're looking to go to WFM. So the first thing you can do, unique codes and descriptions. Now we already know you cannot have two job codes that are the same in the system. With WFM, you cannot have two job titles, two descriptions that are the same. So for instance, I have a client that has, let's say, the receptionist job. They have code ABC is receptionist, CDE is receptionist, FGK is a receptionist at 3 different component companies or 3 different departments, however they want to break it down. They cannot all be receptionists. They would have to be receptionist ABC, receptionist JKL, whatever. So that is something you want to do. You want to run your job codes. You want to look at your org level code and descriptions. You want to look at your location codes and descriptions. We already know the codes are going to be unique. You have to make sure your descriptions are unique. That is something you can do. The next thing you can start thinking about is your business structure. Now, Karen's going to talk a little bit more on this. WFM very much looks at business structure. And Karen's going to give me a thumbs up because I think I have this correct. And that business structure in WFM is kind of hierarchical. Component company, plant, whatever. It's a hierarchy from larger to smaller. Your org levels in UKG are not. It's one of the things I tell my clients all the time. They're not hierarchical. They're just additional fields that you need to report on. So keep that in mind. 1, if you need org levels. But 2, that your highest org level, as far as the number of people it covers, might be org level 3. Org levels are part of what is used for business structure, but it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Locations are also part of business structure. So these are all things you want to look at. I had another pretty sunset picture. So we have a what else can you do slide. What else can you do? So this is what we can do to help you. Configuration files. There is a way to export your configuration files from UTA, which basically says, these are the rules, these are the conditions for this calc group. It's actually not all that difficult. We can walk you through the steps. It exports as a CSV file, which you can open as an Excel file, so you can see what's going on. You want to review your calc groups. Which ones are you no longer using? Because then you don't have to worry about telling Karen or whichever lovely WFM consultant is doing your implementation the rules for this group that doesn't exist anymore. So review your calc groups. Review the rules. Are they working? Here's an important thing to remember. I have a lot of clients who are like, yeah, that rule doesn't work, but it's only like one employee a month, so we just manually update them. That's great. We could probably fix it so you don't have to do that anymore. Now, if you're moving to WFM, maybe you don't think it's worth it, but you want it to work in WFM. Ideally, you don't have to do anything in your timekeeping system other than approve the hours and export them. So that's a thing to keep an eye on. What are you doing manually that doesn't have to be done manually? Another thing, it is not on here, but it needs to be on here, is PTO. Most clients are accruing their PTO in the web. WFM accrues PTO in WFM. It is the preferred method. It is best practice. So make sure you know what your PTO rules are. And again, is there something you're doing manually that you don't want to do anymore? In which case, let your WFM consultant know, this is what we're doing. We want to do it this way. You don't have to do all of these reviews yourself. You can come to Mosaic. We can go out there. We can do those config roles. One of us can look at your calc groups, tell us we can tell you first off which ones are being used. It's an easy report to run. But then we can just basically break down and say, this is the rule you have. This is how it works. This is what it does. These are the earning codes it applies to, or the job codes it applies to. We can look at your shift differentials. We can do the same with your PTO plans, whether they are accrued in core or if you're accruing them in UTA, if you're one of those clients. We can make sure those are all written out in a way that is easy for you to understand, to make sure they're correct, and in a way that is easy for the WFM consultants to understand so that they can build that. So that is what you can start working on now, or as you're getting ready to go to WFM. Now we're going to talk about moving to WFM, and I am going to turn the mic over to Karen because she is the queen of WFM.
I do love the product. So when you think about UTA, the big thing around that are all the bolt-ons, and those are things that aren't going to be able to be ported. So you're going to want to think about all those customizations that you've had are most likely available in WFM, which is why the sundowning is happening, so that we can take you into the next iteration of the product and help you, even streamline even more from an efficiency standard. The big thing is business structure we're going to start with, because business structure is something that will really need to be worked out with your project team and inclusive of future plans that you need, because there are system settings for a many-to-one or a one-to-one that are going to determine whether or not you are using advanced scheduling or using forecasting. Those are things that you're going to want to have conversations about. Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years with the platform? That business structure is going to be the key to all of that. And when you're in a unified platform with Pro, the business structure in WFM becomes king. That hub spoke starts in the center of that structure. So it'll be something that we're really going to want to sit down and delve into, and you can create the hierarchy that you have right now inside of Pro and map it over to WFM. There isn't a hierarchy that you have to follow. This is going to be based on how you want to set up your cost centers, your locations. But once we put that in, then we're going to put in all your jobs. And as Emma said, that needs to be a one-to-one. Job structures are going to be a one-to-one situation. Currently, right now, that's managed through an integration. It keeps everything nice and tidy. Eventually, your system will move to one stream, which will even keep it even tidier and everything in sync on on a very granular level and manage that for you. So there's just so much really very sort of beautiful about the business structure in WFM, because it's going to carry over to your labor categories, your attendance, your hyperfines. It really drives all of those informations. So if you've had like, this is the time to say, you know what, we don't like what we're doing right now. What can we do differently? Because you're not hemmed in by that structure on Pro. You can really create it what you'd like over on the other side. And then take it to the next step. PTO is a big improvement on this side. You have advantages of sub request routines, which allow you to drive who can apply for what and when. You have visibility periods that can tell you, okay, I can't have everybody out on the same day this week, so we're going to stagger those visibility periods of when those PTS requests are going to come through. It really allows you to optimize your workforce management, your scheduling, and allow for forecasting efficiencies in a way that UTA did not allow for before. I really highly encourage the PTO discussion along with your forecasting and your scheduling, because it drives so much of that absenteeism, and do we have the right people where we need them at the right time? Shift differentials. If you've been using them in Pro, they need to sort of move their selves over into WFM, because you have so much more flexibility in there. You have adjustment rules, you have all sorts of things that you can do, percentage allocations. There is so much that you can do surrounding shift differentials, as well as the new updates in R2 that are allowing for intelligent SPIF powered by Bright AI. There's all sorts of things that you can do now with WFM that are not present there. And the current updates that UKG is pushing forward with the platform are going to really help you identify what is going to work best to staff when you need, and how can I do that with a shift diff. PIPs, all of that all falls under there. We can help you do all of that as well. And access groups. Security is a big deal in HR and WFM. Sometimes I think that everybody focuses on banks and everything else, but when you look at security as a whole inside an HR system, you have an entire person's history right there. So we want to keep that as tight as possible. If you're spread out globally and you only want US to see US, you can do that. If you want US to see global, they can do that as well. And you can do it at different levels. Hyperfines drive all of that. Queries that allow for those hyperfines to come in and pull out for specific payroll data, PTO, time spans. Those things really are very, very intelligent inside of WFM. And when you talk about data views are basically a flat view of your data and a relevant data object material that says this is for this, and we can drive that down to a time frame, we can drive it down to a hyperfind and to a product type, and we can customize that, as well as some custom reporting that can be done if you don't currently have what you need in the very extensive stock reporting that comes within WFM. There is quite a library that comes in, and the nice thing about that, data views, hyperfines, all of those are driven by profiles as well. So if you say, I don't want this group of people to see 50 hyperfines, they can only see 3. We can do that for you. Same thing with your pay codes. We can restrict all of that information down to a very granular level so that you're allowed a really great amount of control around your data, who's expressing those data, who's making changes in your system, who can see those changes, do they get picked up in historical? Those things are all available to you. And I really think that that's the beauty of porting from UTA into WFM. It sounds scary, but honestly, it is that next step in your business structure, your business organization, that's really going to take you to a good place and allow for it. And this is the time to say, I don't like what we're doing now. Like Evie was talking about it. We have this problem with this and this and this. Okay, well, let's build that right out of the gate so that's no longer a problem. What are your pain points? Those are the big things I would take from a consultative aspect, is really think about what your pain points are, drop them on a piece of paper, and be really expansive, everything that you don't like, and then let's see what we can fix as we put in a new system for you. And then you come out of the gate already ahead of the game, and it's going to be a real implementation is never what I would call fun. It is for someone like me because I'm a geek, but it can be stressful, but it is also a place to resolve a lot of things that you may be dealing with, and we can help you get there. The access groups is another one that I really think that is a big step to think about along with the business structure, because we really want to drive down immediately out of the gate who could see what, and that drives how we're going to put the system into place for you. And then you have the added advantage of an attendance module, a leave module, those things that can really drive some productivity and convenience for your employees on that. And if you're interested in WFM, and also can house UKG Talk, which is another new product. So if you're on a standalone WFM, Talk can go into WFM on its own as well. So there's a culture building aspect and communication platform as well available to you. And also driven by all of the great new UI changes that you're going to see in the October release. It's really going to be a real big, beautiful step, to be honest, from UTA. And your reporting is a lot easier. There's a lot of things that are a lot better. And then your IT team can link into a data hub as well. So if you want to pull all that data out flat through and have a pull through, it goes right into your own BI. You'll have access to the tables. You can put it into a Power BI from the Google Analytics BigQuery that comes through Data Hub. And there is also API access as well. So, and there's the move from webhooks into real time that's coming along the way as well. So there's a lot of things that are available for you there. So functional business structure implications, automated security attendance. So think about that, Carl. I see your question. As far as it structures everything. So I have, say, group A, and I want their policy to be this. Business structure drives that because it's going to be attached to their label categories and their strings and your hyperfines. So I'm going to take that attendance policy and I'm going to put it onto that group of people. And I can have an attendance policy for 10 people. I can have an attendance policy for 2, and have attendance policy for 1,000. So you really have quite a bit that you can do with that. Automated security is the same. Business structure runs alongside with your functional access profiles as well, which are your FAPs. There's also general data access profiles as well that are built in. So all of that will tie to that structure. It really is sort of the hub and spoke of your entire system once you connect WFM into Pro. So I hope that answers your question. If you have anything more, we'd be happy to help.
Okay, here's your next slide, Karen.
Thank you. Scheduling, basic versus advanced. Basic scheduling is for those users that need more of a patterned schedule group. We don't have a lot of variations. We have 10 patterns. They're never going to change up their shifts, and we can go through that. Advanced, though, allows for predictive scheduling, especially around certain laws, say in Oregon where you have predictive scheduling laws. And those sort of needs. Do I need an on-call list? Am I going to be short here? Those are the differences in your basic and in advanced. And if you really want to get down to it, the R2 updates really pick up scheduling quite a bit and add in quite a bit of AI work into there that'll help your WFM team really sort of help with your scheduling. And I am at my core a WFM person. Scheduling and forecasting is something that's very granular and important to me, and because it drives a monetary value that is very, very, very bottom line for a company, attendance, all of that stuff. And do we have too many people? Are we overpaying for our staff right now? Those sort of things you can do very well with advanced scheduling. You'll have KPI metrics, dashboards that are available to you as well. That'll give you that real-time thing. And there's an auditor dashboard we can turn on as well. There's a lot of things around that. Basic scheduling, though, is for those flat companies that are really going to work on the templates, and they don't want to be overcomplicated by their scheduling as well. They want to have that flat out, punch in, punch out. Salary folks that can have OT can be available on there. It'll track it based on your time card amounts. There's a lot of things that it does do. It is not basic, it's basic when you compare it to the abilities that advanced scheduler can do. If you're really looking to optimize your platform, I would always advise to go for advanced scheduling, especially if you have a large scale workforce. And it can also help you if you have union needs around your scheduling, union driven decisions that you need to make around that as well. So those are those things, especially if you're a 24/7 location. That would be another thing that I would, suggest that for. And it helps you tie in to the rest of your structure. You can tie into pretty much anything. And there's not much that you can't do from a manager on top of scheduler. You can add in a pay code, you can add lead time. All of those things are very readily visible and available. Schedule groups are very, very useful for that. It allows for a much quicker scheduling experience. If you need to move a group of people, you just move the group in the group pattern. Those are those things that are really, in both of those systems, in both in basic and advanced. So I honestly think that scheduling is a core strength inside of WFM. It is one of the standout products. And with the new intelligence that is coming alongside with it and these new updates, it's really come a long way from the days of those of you who used to forecast or schedule out on Excel, like I did back in the day, and your entire workforce was there. It's just such a jump ahead, and we keep making advances in that and being able to really drill down to that 5-minute, 10-minute cycle, 15-minute cycle, however your organization works best. Now, from an analytics point of view, like I said, I briefly touched on Data Hub. Data Hub is an extremely strong product that runs out of as an add-on to WFM. You can have quite a bit of pipeline settings and wrappers to bring that data out into your BI team. They can then manipulate the data however they want. Data Hub runs off of a table through BigQuery on Google's product, which gives you that advanced analytics. Now, on a basic analytics package, type of view, you can also hook into Cognos BI. So that is a separate package. So speak to your UKG rep on that if you don't have that already, but you do have an option of pulling out BI from WFM and building reports into Cognos as well. So if you are someone who loves to play in the data and needs that, you can build quite a bit of data and then tie it in. It's part of your administrative package, so you can add joins and queries in there and get it into some of your other packages and make some really very educated decisions from a data perspective. In-house directly in WFM, I talked about your data views. Data views are very customizable. Your administrator can also build whatever you need at that time, or your Mosaic consultant can for you as well. Just reach out to them. Custom reporting, if you need it in a much prettier format. There is a BERT reporting package in the back that we can handle that does come standard with all. And there are, I think please don't quote me on this, but I want to say there are at least 80 to 90 stock reports that come with it, WFM, and all of those are customizable based on your hyper range, your hyperfine range, you can drill it down to one person. You can bounce right out from a time card into reporting, and it'll only grab that data for that one person so that you're not having to try to weed through a bunch of data as well. So there's quite a bit already stock in there, but if you need a much more expansive data set, all of that stuff already exists as well. And if you're a gambling organization as well, we have a gaming package that works right out of WFM that'll help you with your tokes, your tips, anything else that you could possibly think of. Is also fantastic. Medical as well. We have a great set of work sites and packages and hyperfines that work just directly for our medical teams as well. So there's not much that you can't do. And if you are in the public sector, Telestaff sits right inside of WFM. It's a really fantastic scheduling platform. If you are someone who really loves that type of scheduling, our Telestaff team can also help you put that right inside of WFM and as you move out of UTA. So there's just so much that WFM does now, and it's just a home for a lot of really great products that you can do, and it's all scalable. So if you have a couple, 3,000 seasonal reps that you need to jump up, as an example from someone who asked me today, and those are those things that you can work with UKG on in your licensing. You can scale up and scale down with seasonal licensing. So there's quite a bit that you can do. So please ask us. Oh, absolutely, Lynn. Historical data. So historical data is one of those things that UTA out of report brain is, it's a little bit more chunky, it can take a little bit of time, but we have a product here at Mosaic that is called Time Capsule. It was developed by one of our executive team members, and I'm actually in the process of doing one of those right now. We pull all of your data for however long you have. Then that data will then sit in a time card view inside of your servers. You own that data. We can pull all of that. And you can just have all of that historical data, because it's one of those things, especially if you have unions, you're going to need to have a reference where somebody can have time card data for 4 years or 3 years, whatever is based on your current contract. And we can do that for you, pull all of that historical data and pull it in there. Same thing with PTO and accruals. We can help you build all of that out, get it into a workable format with our BI team, and make sure that that is used for you. And further along, the big thing that people are always really worried about is, I don't know WFM. This sounds like it's a lot compared to UTA. To an extent, yes, but because it's on the same workforce management principles, the logic still applies. And we have an amazing training team. You have community. There are all sorts of resources and courses that are available for you. Our training team will help you walk through it. Your consultants will teach you whatever you need. If you end up post-live with someone like me in Premier and MA, we will walk you through any of those things at any point in time as part of our white glove service that we provide over here. So, time capsule. Yeah. Yes, it does. More, Lynn, as far as Excel, we want to make sure that's in CSV. We can port it into an Excel as well after the fact, but CSV to get it into time capsule. And Anne, on your question, the API of Google BigQuery for WFM to link out to other systems within our organization, yes, they do. There's quite a bit out there. We can help you with that. Okay, it depends more on your need and how you would like to see that in the future. There's a lot of marketplace connectors, and we have a fully functional team that can help you with that as well, and scope it out and see what is needed, including Active Directory APIs if you need that as well. Okay. So,
we ready to move on?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. This is sunrise because we're not sunsetting anymore. How can we help? So what and I do see that question out there, and we'll get there, I promise. What can we do at Mosaic? We can do implementations, full implementation. We do the whole thing with you. We also offer what's called client side, which means you're still working with UKG, but we're taking care of a lot of the grunt work that you do on the client side, kind of serving in between, kind of translating between UKG and your company and helping you out with stuff. Even if it's just project management, that's something we can do. We do provide continuing support. So if you are familiar with the Premier Services platform, which is what I do, where we provide continuing support to your UKG systems, we do have a WFM Premier Services group, and they can provide continuing support with your WFM. And then, as Karen talked about, we have Time Capsule, which will store your UTA data for you, and do run reports on it. I do see a question about UTM on the same schedule as UTA. No, I don't believe I have seen a sunset date for UTM. I will, however, suggest that you don't expect it to be around forever. Yeah, it's going away. We just don't know when. So you'll probably get the same amount of advance warning of UTM going away. So that being what it is. So does anybody have any questions that we have not already answered? And I usually give this about 3 seconds for questions to come in, and then I pop to the last slide. You can still send us your questions, but I need to share the timekeeper, which is my cocktail of the month. Oh, and we lost Karen, which is sad, but trust me, I know how to get a hold of her. If you have questions I can't answer, I can ask Karen. So here we have our timekeeper: sparkling water, vermouth, rum, lime juice, orange slice for a garnish, something kind of light and refreshing, and an important thing when you're done with all of this fun timekeeping stuff. So Do we have any questions from anybody?
I did want to address George's question up there about Boomi connecting to Data Hub. No, you don't need Boomi, George, for Data Hub. It's a separate connection. It's not integration based.
Does time capsule work for UTM? Karen, do you know if it
Yes.
works for UTM? Oh, yippee.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah, it does both.
That sounds exciting.
We also have a product here at Mosaic called RAD that was developed by our team that allows you to have a flat view of your WFM configuration as well, which we can help you then at that point make decisions about better structure, how you want to pull things out. We have a lot of fun products here that have been developed by our representatives and consultant teams.
Okay. So WFM is scheduling and typekeeping. It is not a replacement for Pro. And yes, the UKG website is confusing.
On that, yeah. You just want to think about it is going to do everything that you need to set up for a successful payroll experience and set that integration up. It's going to take it out to your back office, feed it into your payroll gateway, and then Pro is going to take over from there. But it is very seamless.
And I can say I have actually helped clients doing their payroll through WFM, and it is much more seamless than UTA. There is no need to go out and grab that file. Okay. So we're going to stay on a little bit longer in case more questions come up, but thank you very much for joining us. The recording and slides will be made available. Tell your friends about it. If your friends missed the meeting, just have them reach out. We can send them these slides. And as with everything, any questions, any further information you need, please reach out to whoever you're working with at Mosaic. And if you're not working with someone, go to mosaic-cg.com. It's on the bottom of that slide there. There's a little form you can fill out, and someone will reach out to you and we'll get you hooked up. If you transition, no. So asking if once you transition, can you still access UTA? UKG will keep UTA open for a short period of time, usually about 30 days once you transition to WFM. And once we hit that 10/28/2028 date, it's gone. It has left the building.
There is an option on that one, Mary, that if you decide that you would like to have a read-only view of UTA, you can for 1 year. It's a subscription fee that'll work through UKG, but it is a read-only view. So you want to have a plan for that historical. Straddling, we have had clients try to straddle both a WFM license key and a UTA key. It is not recommended. There are a lot of downstream effects. So having a plan for that historical data like time capsule really just sort of makes it very smooth, and you don't need to worry so much about your retro.
So there's a question about would Canada need different titles than the US? And I correct that minor differences would work, correct?
It is. And the thing about this is that we can build a job bank for you, Carl. We just can't have a duplicate job under the same, say department. So if you use, say, job AB, and you wanted to have it under 9 different departments, you can absolutely do that. But it can't just be duplicated under the same department twice. So, if you need to add like an S at the end of one of them and you want to have that distinction, that you can do.
Okay. I'm hoping people are just writing down my cocktail recipe.
I already have a screenshot.
Screenshot, or just, get the slides. It'll be on there.
Yeah. We do encourage you to reach out to us and the team. If you're already working with Mosaic, please talk with your project manager or your SCA if you're on our side of the business, and let's sit down and have a conversation that's very thoughtful to your organization. A lot of this is very big generalizations, but we can get very in what do you need.
Also, if you or somebody at your company is going to be at Aspire, Mosaic is a sponsor. We do have a booth. Please drop by and say hi.
And MA is going to be walking around Aspire as well. So if you see her, yeah.
I will have costume ducks.
Yes, I was wondering.
Giving out ducks. So.
And if you haven't seen my shirt, this is our this year's shirt. MA had a big plan decision in this one.
We have ducks.
Yeah.
Ducks are the thing. Okay.
Thank you for everybody's time.
Again, thank you, everybody. I have to stay here until everybody goes home. Booth B401. Good. Now I know how to find it. I have to stay here till everybody goes home. But we're here if you have questions. 100%. Thank you, Matthew. And Mary. And Cheryl. Sorry. I'm missing the thank yous. Okay. Looks like population is dropping off. So we're going to end the stream. Thank you for attending. Remember, reach out if you have questions, comments, complaints. No complaints. Not taking complaints till Wednesday. And if you need a copy of everything, they will be sent out. So thank you all very much and see you next time.